Cool. Jameson Tank, you ready to knock into this thing?
Yes, sir, I am, man.
Your little catchphrase, dude.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for joining me, dude. It's I feel like this is a bit of a long time coming.
Yeah, man. I should have asked you a long time ago, but I was kind of waiting till I had something going on that was important. You know, there's only a few podcast games in this town that I'm really been looking forward to getting onto. So appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. Yeah. And it is a smart idea to try to plan these things out when you have something to really talk about, because otherwise I don't really like having people on more than once, or at least it can be easy for me to maybe fall back on like the same person coming a few times. So it's nice to like just try to do one per episode unless there's something really special coming up.
I get what you mean, yeah, because like to a certain extent, you only have so much to talk about, you know. I mean, surely there's a lot to talk about. Like I've had Drew Baskin on like 3 or 4 times.
Exactly.
Jackson Chairfoley, like those are just friends, you know. But like you
Shout
say,
out to Jackson.
Yeah, I love Jack. You need to have Jackson on here. Jackson would be a great episode. His episode with me is really funny. He's a funny guy, and he's smart about the business. You should look into having him.
We've been planning out the Eastern rooftop, which was just announced.
What's the date on that?
March 31st.
March 31st. I'm gonna try to make that. That's kind of cool. A really dope bill, dude. Corduroy Blue is incredible too.
They fucking rock.
They're sick, man. They're really good. Angelics are awesome.
Yes,
really like a bunch of your songs too.
Because Angelics opened for you at the Georgia Theater.
They did, man.
Which was sold out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great night. Great.
Yeah,
night.
it was awesome. I got to watch it, man.
Were you there?
I was.
I don't think I saw you, man.
I know.
Thank you for coming,
you guys had a
brother.
lot of people to talk to, so I was like, I'm just gonna show up, watch, and then head out. You guys crushed it.
Thank you, man. How'd it sound out there? Pretty good?
It sounded awesome.
Love that, man.
What was that experience like, selling out the Georgia Theater? I mean,
that's incredible.
That's like bucket list for how many people?
I mean, yeah, forever, man. Wait, did you say for how many people?
I mean, it's everybody wants
I get what you mean. Sorry, I heard you wrong. Yeah, dude, it was incredible, man. And it really wasn't on the radar. Like, it's such a big room. And we've done it twice already. So like selling it out wasn't necessarily on the radar. Like obviously I've dreamed about that, and that's definitely top 3 on my bucket list probably. So actually pulling it off, like getting done at the end, be like, man, that was really packed, and then them being like, yo, here's your sold out medal. That was really cool, man. And
so you didn't know until later?
No, we didn't know until later. I knew it was, pretty packed, but like, you know, you had some in and out between. Ocho pulled a lot of people, which was really awesome. Angelics did as well. They played great, and by the end of the night, it was obviously full, but like I didn't think sold out would be in the cards, man, until they gave us the medal. I should have brought the medal. You'd have liked that. Keep it hanging up in my house. I wear it every now and again.
Nice. Wear it to sleep.
But yeah, it's been really great for the band is in like really like establishing official credibility. Like we've officially arrived, and I can email a venue in Virginia and be like, yo, we just sold out world-renowned venue,
right.
and we sold out Smith's Old Bar in Atlanta with the Asymptomatics, which was awesome.
Yes, I was there as well.
Were you?
Yeah,
dude, I didn't see you there either,
dude,
man.
Yes, you did. You said, "Hey."
Oh my god! Oh, you were in the dressing room. You're in the dressing room. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. I'm sorry, man.
So funny. No, you're good. When you play at these shows, you have so many people to talk to, and at some point, you just kind of like. Every face runs together. It's dark in there. It's blurry. People are drinking, the whole thing.
Exactly. And it feels like everybody's tugging you a little which way. You kind of got to tend to them all. I mean, they came out to see you, so it's like, I've got to go make some sort of conversation here, which I love, you know, it's part of the game.
Yeah, it can be an interesting balancing act, like making sure everybody feels like, hey, I got to talk to them. Like, it was good being able to come out. They know I'm here.
Yeah.
I got to witness it. Yeah. But also, some people like don't necessarily understand that like you have to either go warm up or you have to talk to other people to let them know like, hey, thank you for coming, and then they'll like keep you there, and you're like, all right, I gotta
run, because like your brain, like you're having a conversation with, and your brain's like, I need to be checking right now, I need to be warming up, I need to be doing this, I need to make sure my plugs are ready, I need to make sure the GoPro's on stage, I need to make sure it sounds good, you know what I mean?
There's so much to think about, so many like little things going on.
We always joke about like there's these memes on Instagram and stuff where it's like, because we play a bunch of like bar-esque shows, like 3-hour not cover gigs anymore. We're doing a lot of originals, but like at the end of the set, it'll be like, it's a meme. It's like, oh, you guys are packing up? Let me tell you my life story right quick.
You're like, my man.
Which I love, you know, I love talking to people. That's part of the reason I'm in the game. But yeah, man, I'm glad you called those two, man. I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, of course.
Great nights for us, man. Really, really good to have. That was like we've arrived, you know, because we sold out the rooftop on Georgia Theater before.
Yeah.
And that's how we got downstairs in the first place. And I mean, until you do it a second time, it kind of felt like not a fluke, but like just a good marketing run maybe. So for us to sell at Smith's Old Bar in December and Georgia Theater in January, it's like, all right, we're here. Especially after our Instagram got banned. Like
Wait, what?
Yeah, we lost our Instagram. I don't know if you knew this, but
No.
in early December, we got banned on Instagram for like pretty much no explanation. It's like a weird thing. They said community guidelines.
Right,
So,
of course.
lost my podcast Instagram, lost
No
my band
way.
Instagram, lost my personal Instagram with all my pictures from since I was like, I don't know when Instagram came out, but I was probably like 12.
Yeah.
And I still haven't got them back, by the way. But after that, I was like, kind of like a low spot. Like, damn, man, like we spent all this time building all these fans. Now they're not going to see when we post about shows. And then our first show back was Smith's Old Bar. We sold it out. And then the second one was Store Theater. So that was really cool.
How'd you get your Instagram back?
No, I didn't get it back.
Oh, you
Did
didn't?
I say I got it back? Our first
I
show
just
back.
assumed.
No, we haven't got it back because it's like it's a whole thing when you go online and look it up. Like, I think they just kind of like try to clear out accounts because there's so many. They'll just like straight up like just ban accounts for no reason. And you look it up.
So fucked.
There's no customer service on it. Like getting in touch with the Instagram rep. They don't have a phone number. Facebook doesn't have a phone number. You have to like run ads and then like put in info on the ads to get in touch with somebody. And I've talked on the phone with them probably like 10, 15 times through that method, which you have to spend money each time to do that method.
That's so gross.
And they pretty much just transfer me and then hang up. So I know. But
do better, Instagram.
Exactly. But the point is though, that was like, it was kind of a W to like sell those two out after losing Instagram. It's like, all right, we don't need it, you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's been
So
great.
let's discuss Rolling Stone's Let It Bleed. It's the album you picked to display here.
Can I hold it right quick?
Sure, yeah. If you're listening to the episode, you can also watch it on YouTube, see our beautiful faces and the beautiful album cover right here.
Please watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I watched the Win one on YouTube. I thought it was great. I love this record, dude. It's just like, to me, it's arguable on the Best Stones one, but to me, it probably is in commercial appeal, maybe. I don't know. But I always really like Midnight Rambler, Give Me Shelter, you know, stuff like that. You can't always get what you want.
Classics.
Those are like the big ones, you know.
Yeah, let me see what else was on this one.
There's some weird ones on there, man, like the Monkey one and stuff like that. But I always thought it was really good cover art. Definitely one of my favorites. But I don't know. There's Sticky Fingers really good too.
I was gonna say, I think Sticky Fingers is my favorite.
Oh, we'll take that any day, man. We'll take that any day.
But this is a great one as well.
Yeah, man. Love that. I love that album cover. I think that's a great album cover.
It is. It might be their best one. I don't know. Sticky Fingers is actually pretty
Sticky
classic.
Fingers is a pretty good cover. Pretty good cover. And on the vinyl, like the pants unzipped.
Right,
you know what
that
I'm
is
talking about?
pretty funny.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It took me actually a long time to really get into the Rolling Stones.
Really?
Like way longer than
Your Beatles guy?
it should. Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I got really into the Beatles when I was like 19.
Okay.
Like I liked them as a kid, but kind of had this weird gap of time where I didn't listen to them.
Yeah.
And then when I was like 19, I got back into them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until maybe 2020 when I was like listening to Rolling Stone. Obviously, I know the hits that you can't avoid.
You've heard them, yeah.
But,
they passed through the earwaves a time or two.
Right. But like, I didn't really know Wild Horses. I didn't really know like more of the deep cuts that are still popular amongst fans. Exile on Main Street. I didn't know like a single song from that album. Okay. And now I have it on vinyl and that album
Oh, you
rocks.
got Exile in there, man?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It kind of blends in. It's hard to like see it in the collection.
Yeah, I was kind of the opposite. Like I liked the Stones before the Beatles. So like you either kind of go one way, I think, when you start.
Yeah.
And then I watched this documentary a few years ago called Crossfire Hurricane. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's about the song, or it's based off, what song is that? Jumpin' Jack Flash. You know that song? It's like one of their earlier songs in mono, I think. And I watched this really good documentary. And if you like the Stones at all, you should go watch Crossfire Hurricane. It's a really good breakdown of their whole career.
What's it on?
Good. It was on Netflix. It's not anymore. I think it's on YouTube now.
Oh, easy.
But a tremendous watch, like narrated by them, kind of like going through each little bit of it. Really good.
Nice. I want to read the autobiography of what's his name?
Keith Richards?
Yes.
I think it's my buddy, my guitar player, Bryce Burnett, or the guitar player in my band, Bryce Burnett.
Yeah.
Not my guitar player.
Right.
He has it. It's really thick. I don't know. I think it's a little bigger than it needed to be for him, but if that makes sense.
That's like what has intimidated me.
Yeah, it's huge, man. It's huge. Yeah.
I don't know.
Would like to read eventually, though. I feel like most of it, though, on him is just like heavy drug use stories, which is kind of the problem I had with the. I tried to read the Anthony Kiedis book, and everybody highly regards that one. But to me, like, I was like 7 chapters in, and like each story was just like, did a lot of drugs and did this. It's like, all right,
strung out in a coke house.
Yes.
And you're like,
in LA,
this is
like,
the 7th time.
Yeah, it's like again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand the greatness of that kind of stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's like the whole reason everybody loves that book.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, I don't know.
I kind of want to hear about the tunes, man. I want to hear about
Yeah.
the early band stories. Are usually my
That's good to
favorite
know.
thing.
Maybe I won't.
Well, I've got a copy if you want to borrow it. I'm
Okay,
done with it.
okay.
Did not finish it.
I don't know.
so
You're
you
really
got
selling it. over here. But dude, let's talk about your new tune,
Yes,
Side
sir.
Mission.
Let's talk about it, man.
It rocks.
Thank you, brother.
When is
Appreciate
it officially coming out?
I believe, I don't know when this is coming out, but it should be out around late March. I think, I don't know what the exact, it might be the 31st. Did you guys show on a Friday?
It is.
So I think I'm
There you
shooting
go.
for the 31st. We're actually having a final mix on it on Sunday when we get back from the road this weekend. And what I sent you was like pretty much done.
Right.
We're like going in one last time to just listen and bounce it down and send it off for mastering. But yeah, we're really proud of that and recorded it right here with Tommy. So that was awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Very cool. And I think this one, I've been sending it around to a few buddies and they've been really impressed with it. Like people whose opinion I kind of really care about or acknowledge, like I respect
Yeah.
their opinion. And I feel like finally this songwriting is going to kind of line up with the production value that we've been looking for. Because in the past, we kind of missed on a few, in my opinion. But like we love those songs. We were just a young band, figuring out how to record.
Sure.
And now I think these are going to change things for us, man. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to get it out there.
That's awesome. What do you feel like was different about this one that makes you feel like this is it? This is a different level.
Great question. I think really just like the low end kind of stuff. Like Tommy obviously knows what he's doing. He's the man. Bringing him in was huge. I think that was absolute game changer on getting the tracks good to start with. Usually, or in the past, we've taken like tracks that we settled on and been like, oh, we'll get a great mix and it'll fix it, And that's not quite always the case. And don't get me wrong, like I love those songs. The ones we put out, I love all those. There's just a few little things where I'm like, would have done differently. But these, like I'm listening to Side Mission, I'm like, yeah, there's nothing I'd change about this. This sounds great. And that's pretty rare,
Yeah.
So I think it was like coming together with Tommy, and then I got this guy Jason Kingsland to mix it. You ever heard of him?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's over at 1092, I think. Great guy. He was excited about it. He wanted to work on it, which is great compared to what I've done in the past, which is like getting mixed online kind of stuff. And he was excited about it. And I think that you can kind of feel it and that kind of stuff. And the band, we all wrote it together.
Oh,
those are kind of
new.
Yeah, those are somewhat new. Like we usually each write our own parts, but this was like a really like, all right, let's go into this together because we're a band now, which is an important development as opposed to like the EP we put out. We were just kind of figuring our way out. Like I wrote most of those, and like nobody's songwriting identity had really pulled through in full force yet. But now I think like all four of us are very much contributing almost equally, and I think you can tell by like the song to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you feel like now that this is maybe more of a band relationship, how have the dynamics changed? Has that been interesting to navigate compared to maybe being the one that's like really like the front force of it?
It has, man. It was a very tough, not very tough, but a very long learning process of like me having to be okay with other people bringing in ideas. Like I didn't really want anybody else to sing on a Jameson Tank song. That's kind of confusing.
Right.
But now, I mean, I'm totally down with that. Javier, my bass player, sings, and he's a better singer than I am, man. He's a great singer. So I think we're going to have a track on the upcoming EP that he sings on that he wrote, which is really cool. We played it at Smith's Old Bar. It's kind of like a heavier punk song almost.
Yeah.
Connor, our drummer, is an excellent songwriter. He's probably one of the better songwriters in the band for sure. He's got a musical knowledge that dwarfs mine. It's great. And we're trying to get some tracks. He wrote Dive by the Angelics. Do you know that song?
I have heard it.
Yeah, they played
I'm not
it
sure
near
which
the
one
end of
it
their
is.
set. It's like really epic, like coming of age thing.
Yeah.
He's a tremendous songwriter.
Does he play with them?
He does. He's kind of on and off with them, but we're his main project kind of thing because like we tour so much, it's hard for him. Like I doubt it'll be at the Eastern because we'll probably be playing that night. I think if it's a Friday, we're probably booked.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to make it if we're not. But he kind of does both. But yeah, to answer your question, the dynamic has changed exponentially. And I mean, when I started the band, it was very much solo project in the sense of I had already been putting out tunes when they joined. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. And now it's very much like if somebody can't make a gig or somebody can't make a recording session, it's canceled, you know, because
Wow, that is a big difference.
yeah, big difference, man. Love those guys. If anything, they don't get nearly enough credit because the band's my name, you know, but that's just how it played out and
Yeah.
how it should be kind of, but like,
That's funny, man. Now I'm like, if this guy can't make it, I got to get someone in here. I got to play this show, dude.
yeah, I know what you mean. And we've never done it. We've never played a show that wasn't us, which I'm kind of proud of. There's been a few times where it's been like not ginormous, but big fraternity offers. It's like, all right, Javier can't make it. We might have to find a bass player this weekend just because it's so much money, you know, and we want to do it. But we've never done it. It's never panned out. It's like, if these guys can't make it, we're out, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I asked if they could come in on the show too, but I know you're not quite ready for that.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I would
next
feel a
time.
little overwhelmed just making sure everybody. First of all, I don't have enough microphones. It's a learning, growing process.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now I can get 3 other people.
Yeah.
So we'll make it happen. Maybe we can do another one in the
yeah.
future. Yeah.
Because I think in the past, you know, same kind of thing. Like I did most of the speaking for the band. I kind of do 75 to 85% of the business work of the band, you know, which is because I love it. You know, they're not really interested in the above the belt stuff. But I would really love to get a podcast with them all on it because we do them on my show. Like they'll come in and we'll do Jameson Tank.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm interviewing us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like that's only so cool, you know?
Yeah. You should just have like cuts of like you talking to yourself, interviewing yourself. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the moral of that whole question there is like those guys are a very big reason that we've had any success at all. And I think they deserve more credit, man. I'm going to try my best to get it to them.
Shout out to
shout
the
out.
boys in the band.
Shout out Bryce, Connor, Javier. Those are the dudes, man. They're absolutely unbelievably talented.
Yeah, and you mentioned the business side of things.
Oh, yeah.
Which, in my opinion, you are probably the best at marketing.
Thank you.
And like you have made a brand for yourself that has certainly been recognized by everyone. And I think you've done a great job at getting your name out there. What's some advice that you would tell people that are trying to, I mean, it sounds kind of gross, you know, but to like, to find their brand, and then push it. Like, what is your advice? What have you learned over the years?
Thank you, man. Thank you for starters. Appreciate that. Yes, that's a great question that I think a lot of bands are missing, man. Because like I always try to tell people this. Like the other day, I was in Roadhouse, had too many drinks. I cornered Colin Cosby. I was like, "Bro, the Regulars could be one of the biggest bands in town if you guys would just market yourselves right." You know what I mean? But like, I guess to answer the question is like, branding is very important, you know. And I spent a lot more time thinking about the branding than I did about the music for probably, you know, a year when we weren't being very creative yet. But like, if you can find a way to build the brand to where people like the music no matter what, like that's kind of a W. Like our plan at the start was to get in front of as many people as we can, sell as many t-shirts as we can, you know, like get as many people on the podcast as I can so that their fans have heard of Jameson Tank the band, you know. And I don't know if I'm answering this well. Just like,
no, dude, you're
you know
good.
what I mean? Like it's like so hard to explain, but it was a culmination of things. Like
who would want to start a podcast so that they interview other bands and
what a
then learn
weird,
about them? I don't know. Who
what a
would do
weird thing
that.
to do,
So
man.
strange. So
But
strange.
see, you're doing it. That's great. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
see the genius in like have like my fans will now know who you are when they listen to this. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's not why I did the show, but it just ended up working out like
It
that.
helps.
It helps. It helps. I guess what I'm trying to answer is like branding is so like a branding is worth the conversation within your brand, like to everybody listening that's interested in that sort of stuff. Like we almost treat Jameson Tank like a t-shirt company that makes music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you watch our little edits on Instagram and stuff, like it kind of revolves around shots of people in the merch.
Right.
And like us, we're playing on the stage because every band has a similar story. I feel like if we can change the narrative, I think that's interesting because every band's out there like, yo, check my music out, you know. But if we're like, yo, a bunch of people like have our merch and we have this cool podcast, like that's a different storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I answered that well. That's a big question.
No, I know
Great
it is a
question.
little big, and it's also personal.
No, I
It
love
is
it.
subjective to whoever.
Yeah.
You know, like finding whatever way to that makes sense for you.
Yeah.
But even then, it's still for some people going to
gonna
be
be different for
uncomfortable
everybody.
because people
Yeah.
are uncomfortable talking about themselves sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a weird thing, man. But I really do love that question. I'm gonna come up with a better answer for you for next
No,
time.
dude, you're good.
I feel like I just rambled.
You're gonna
through
text
that.
me on the way home. You'll be like, "Fuck,
I got the branding answer, dude."
yeah."
But I
Well,
guess the moral of the story is to like think about branding, and you can brand yourself into a bigger artist through that if you're smart. If that makes sense.
yeah,
And I say bigger artists, like we're bigger artists, but like you can make yourself appear bigger than you actually are. You know, because people are seeing us playing in front of 600 people in Clemson, and they're like, "Oh my God, Jameson Tank is huge down there." When really it's just some fraternity party where there was 600 people and we happened to be there crushing. Do you know what I mean?
right.
We didn't sell any tickets for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you feel like some of that is purposefully like hiding maybe imposter syndrome, or just trying to not think about it? Because for me, it can be very easy to slip into the whole like, nah, like I'm not really like that. And almost you have to like trick yourself into being like, yes, I am. And
Yes,
really
I
just
think
go
so.
for it.
I think so. Like I think we've always, in my head at least, tried to like consider ourselves on that caliber, if that makes sense. And like I'll go see people all the time, and respectfully, I'm like, yeah, we're better at certain things, you know. Like I'm never afraid to be like, oh, we kick ass. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
In like a not like a narcissist way, but as in like if you don't have that, if you're not going out every night thinking you're crushing, like you're probably not crushing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well,
like
nobody wants to see a band up there that is like not confident in themselves.
Yes, that's
because
really-
you're not giving them a reason
Yeah,
to believe
to
in
be
you
excited,
if
yeah.
you don't believe.
I think it's
in
like
you.
a Chris Martin quote. I bring it up all the time on my podcast, but like it's like all people want to see is somebody doing something confidently. And I think we're pretty good at that as a band. I think Bryce is really good at that as a guitar player. Connor's really good at that as a drummer, and Hobby's great at that on the bass. And I think it kind of shows. So when you say imposter syndrome, I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but like
Yeah, maybe that wasn't quite the term. Just
No.
the feeling of like other people see you as maybe like this big thing, and you're like, no, like you don't
No.
believe in it because
No, I
you
believe
know
it.
all your past or whatever.
yeah, I believe at this point in time, I believe it. Maybe in the past, didn't believe them, like when we weren't selling tickets or something, and doing a lot of cover
Right.
gigs. We went to like a cover band era, kind of, that we've thankfully come out of. But now I believe them.
That's great. Yeah. Hey. So I have a couple other questions written down.
You're prepared here. You got some good questions. I love that.
I try. I mean, you've toured like crazy.
Yes,
How
sir.
many shows did you do last year? It was like over 100, right?
No, I think we were closer to 75 last year.
Still
Still a lot, yeah.
Still a lot.
So creeping up on 100. I think we'll be near 85 to 100 this year because
Wow.
we're working a lot harder. We're doing 3 shows this weekend, so
crazy.
yeah, man, we love it. We love
So
it out there.
what have been some of the highlights of touring life? I mean, having done that for so long,
Yeah.
you've now probably fallen into maybe like a solid routine that works on the road.
Absolutely.
What's something you're doing now that you weren't before?
Interesting. Great question. I think just as you tour, like you automatically get better at it, you know, just through doing it. You know, I think we're better than we've ever been at it, obviously. But excuse me, sorry, I had a little burp there.
No, you're good.
I guess to answer the question, like we're dialed in. Like we've got it going. We've got our routine. Like the band knows when to show up at the house. I've got the hotels booked in advance. I've got the U-Haul booked. We're touring with the PA all the time. Like the logistics of it, I've got figured out. Some of the most rewarding parts, as you asked, is just like going to these new towns that we've never been to and just crushing, you know, like smaller towns we've really focused on. Like I bring up Clemson a lot because we've got a big fan base there. We did Swanee, Tennessee last month, and they loved it. I mean, I'm sure they don't get many bands, so they were excited.
Swanee, Tennessee.
Swanee, Tennessee, very
Yeah.
small college town. Yeah, they have one bar, I think, or one main bar that kids go to, and they were just so stoked that we came to. That was awesome. And stuff like Troy, Alabama, like 1 bar to 3 bar kind of towns where they don't, you know, Athens, you've got a band every weekend. In Troy, they don't, so they get really excited, and it's been really rewarding to meet all these people and kind of grow and see people wearing the shirts and bump into people on the street that are like, yo, you're that podcast guy. Yo, you guys are in that band. You know, that's really cool, man.
Whoa.
It's great. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's been awesome, man.
What have been like the hardest lessons to learn on tour?
Booking probably is a big one. Once you can jump that booking curve, like we're probably getting like a show every couple of days now. And the only way that happens is through playing a lot. Definitely had some breakdowns recently on the road that were tough. Like we lost money on those weekends because the band broke down, kind of stuff.
For a second, I thought you meant mentally.
No,
But I realized you meant the van.
no. We're all very solid mentally. We all have a pretty good mindset. I mean, it wouldn't work if you didn't. You've got to really be down to rough it, you know, like I'm talking 7-hour drives to make $200 sometimes, you know, stuff like that. Like we did 10-hour drive to Auburn to just clear even, you know, because our van broke down.
Damn.
You got to really love it to do it. But like we do really love it. And I think it's like the only way that it'll really happen for you. And I think like if we hadn't done that, we'd only be a name in Athens and Clemson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like nobody would have heard of us elsewhere. So I think more Athens bands should tour. That's like maybe my one complaint with the bands that come on the show is like not enough touring, you know?
Yeah.
It's easy to be in Athens and like play Flicker and play 40 Watt, play Rooftop, play Boar's Head, play Clark's and be like, oh, we're crushing right now. But I mean, you are just here though. You know, if you ever want to really span out, you're going to have to move around a little bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of Athens bands forget about that, you know? So,
well, it's easy to get insulated. I would think.
So.
I mean, being here because there are a lot of opportunities, which is awesome.
A blessing. Yeah.
It is a blessing, but it could also be a curse in a way, just because it's easy to stay.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable to stay.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think a lot of Athens bands have fallen in that trap. We fell in that trap. We just started, you know, it's like, oh, we're crushing. Why should we leave? You know? But to me, if you really ever want to be bigger than the big fish in a small pond kind of thing, you're going to have to go take the big drives. You're going to go to Alabama. You're going to have to go to North Carolina, Florida. And just for starters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like all the big bands that I really look up to have done that. So I've been really enjoying getting out there. My band is so great at touring. They love it like I do. We're on pace to do 85 to 100 this year. So
crazy.
Yeah, man. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Yeah.
Sweet. Love that.
I have one more.
Yeah, please.
In regards to touring. What advice do you have? Is there a tambourine out there, you son of a bitch, Tommy?
Tommy's working.
Tommy's bringing that tambourine out.
I love him.
Shout out to Tommy Wabaz. But anyway, about touring, what would your advice be to somebody who is putting on their very first tour ever?
Ooh, okay. Advice for the first tour would maybe be, gosh, I hate to say just do it. That's a cheesy answer, but like just get out there. Get out there, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're going to have some bad shows. You're going to have some amazing shows, but most of the first ones you do on your first tour are going to be like, we're playing in South Carolina? Sick. You know what I mean? Like nobody can come out and you'll have a great time. Like just get out there and start like seeing what the road can offer you, which is a lot, you know. I think it's very good to like kind of like we discussed, like maybe not focus on your hometown entirely. Like go out and build hype in your hometown through touring. Like before we left like Clemson, South Carolina kind of picked up on us before Athens did. Like I remember we did this one thing one time. We went and played in Myrtle Beach. This is like early band days. This is our first tour. It's called Too Hot to Hold Tour is what we called it.
What was it?
The Too Hot to Hold Tour, because we had a song called that.
Too Hot to Hold.
Yes, sir. And we drove all the way to Myrtle Beach, played like a cover beach bar, like a 4-hour cover beach bar. I call it Tin Roof. And it was awful. We played during the day, and we are not a during the day band.
It was so hot.
It was hot. It was cool that we were on the beach and all, but it was like nobody was there. It was during the day. Played Myrtle Beach. And then while we're playing at Myrtle Beach, I'm in the bathroom while Hobby's singing a song, and Clemson fraternity calls me. We've never played anything Clemson. They called me. They're like, dude, can you guys be here tomorrow at 10 for a tailgate before a game? And I was like, we hadn't played. We played maybe 2 fraternities, and we're trying to get in that scene so bad. I was like, all right, we'll do it. So I told them after the gig, I was like, all right, guys, we got to sleep for like 3 hours and roll out, you know.
Oh, my God.
So we slept a few hours. We drove to Clemson. We played from 10 to 12 or something, like right before a noon game. And it was insanely rowdy. Like they loved us. Like parents were into it. The kids were into it. It was so much fun. Like selling T-shirts was great. And then we drove to Athens for another tailgate we already had scheduled because their game was later in the day. And we get to Athens and we play, and nobody gives a shit, man.
Wow.
It's one of them tailgates where just nobody's listening. Nobody knew who we were. Like maybe 5 people in front of us at any time, you know? And that was like kind of the dynamic of the early days for like a few months, you know? It was like we could go to Clemson and play these like crazy tailgates, and like people loved us up there. And then we'd come back to Athens, play Boar's Head, and there'd be like nobody there. Mm-hmm. So like through that, like we started posting these videos, you know? It's like we're crushing in Clemson, and there's 300 people there, you know? And people in Athens started to be like, damn, who is this band, you know?
Right.
So like it kind of eventually leveraged over into us having somewhat an equal fan base. But what I'm trying to say from that is like, get out there and tour, man. You never know. Like your big town might be an hour away, or you might be a big deal 6 hours away. You might like really hit in Charlottesville or something,
Wild.
or yeah, it's really cool, right? And like still to this day, there was some like we'll play stuff in like last time we played in Clips, and this sounds so weird to talk about, but like last time we played in Clips and we printed these tiger shirts, like they had like a tiger and a tank on it, and Jameson Tank shirts, and like after that show we sold 35 shirts, which is crazy number of shirts.
Yeah.
And like people want us to sign all of them, like they want everybody in the band signature on these shirts. I'm like, you sure you want me to ruin this shirt?
You're like, that's an extra $15.
This takes value off the shirt.
Yes. Yeah.
and then we'll go to Athens and we'll play and we'll sell 2 shirts. It's like, damn, like think about if we'd never gone to Clemson and taken that chance. Like we might not have, a whole nother fan base that knows about us and supports us,
Right.
So touring is a very key element of it. And then again, like you said, like perspective, like maybe to Wim, who's like absolutely crushing right now just on like streams and like people knowing his songs and stuff, maybe that's not the path for him, like because he doesn't tour that much right now. He's getting there. He's doing DC this weekend, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
But like right now he's crushing, just like spending all his time in the studio. And a band like Hefner, in the studio all the time. They're on their 3rd record in like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
And they don't tour very much. Like they've been to Savannah and stuff, but like they're crushing in other aspects, So like maybe touring isn't the route for everybody, but to me and us, it kind of was.
Nice.
That was a long-winded answer.
No. It is a podcast. You can go as long as you want.
Long-winded.
No, that's great advice. At the end of the day, it really is just make it happen. There's not really any other better advice.
Yeah, and it's
at least
like,
for your first tour.
Exactly. And like to me it feels like when we're not touring, it's like we're not all in. Like if you're not really out there touring, like do you really expect the world to pick up on your music? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean some people pulled that off, some people have 1 million streams and they never played a show, but like to me where the bread meets the butter, or the rubber meets the road.
Where the bread meets the butter.
I don't know if that's right. Where the rubber meets the road is going out and selling tickets.
Yeah.
Because like if you got 1 million streams and no one comes to see you, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, cool. You know what I mean?
So I got one last question before we go to the last 5.
Yeah,
which are 5 more last questions.
I've had a great time. How long have we been in on this guy?
Dude, we've been in it for about 45 minutes.
Ooh, nice. Look at us go.
Man. But that would be, if you could go back and give yourself any advice, music related, back to like right when you started, what would be like the key thing to tell yourself?
Ooh, great question. You got some good questions, brother.
Thank you.
You're a great host, by the way.
I appreciate it.
Very well done.
That means a lot coming from the man, Jameson On The Rocks.
Thank you, man. I listened to a bunch of your episodes before this, and you have a calming voice and great questions.
Thank you.
To answer your question, though, you said advice I would give myself. I was just starting, right?
Yeah. If you were just starting, what would you go back and tell yourself?
I'd say focus more on being creative from day one on originals, because I kind of had that sentiment when I started, and then I lost it in like the playing cover shows kind of vibe, like we need to make money kind of vibe, maybe even, or like we need to make fans. I would say like always be creative, and like even if you're playing cover gigs in the beginning, play your originals no matter what. Like I went through a strong like 6-month era of like we were doing these huge cover shows, a huge exaggeration, huge fraternity cover shows where we're used to playing in front of 500 people, which is not that big, but like in my head it is.
It's not nothing.
Yeah. And like I would be like, oh, they don't want to hear our originals, man. They're just here to hear, Mr. Brightside and shit like that.
Nice.
Like always like remember, if you're just starting, that like they want to hear your songs, and like to just play them no matter what, and focus on being creative. We're actually going into we're more creative than we've ever been as a band. I think we're talking about cutting it off right here. We're gonna do two more songs, make this an EP, and then we're gonna go album mode and like straight up try to record 20 songs, and 20 and cut it down to 10 was the conversation.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, we don't want to put no double album.
I was gonna say, I was like,
we're like, the plan is to just record everything we come up with and figure out what's good later.
That's smart.
But yeah, I'd just say be creative, man. I lost that creativity in me for a little while. Kind of lost my soul for a little while in the cover band game. So I'm glad to be back. But
it made you some money to be able to afford to get creative in the studio.
It did, and it made us a shit ton of fans, honestly, in my opinion. Like, if we had never done the cover rounds, we would be, playing Flickr to 45 people, like, not selling me tickets, and nothing wrong with that. I loved the Flickr show that I played. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, there was a growth through those cover shows.
Right.
To where the brand, the recognizability, the videos of us playing in front of a lot of people, the people looking us up on Spotify after, even if we didn't play many originals, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like let your path take you where you're going, but always be creative, you know.
That's a great way to end our first section. That was beautiful. Very well put. Very
Thank you,
beautifully
brother.
put.
Thank you, brother. I put a lot of thought into this. I was actually really excited to come on as soon as we put this down because, you know, you appreciate getting interviewed when you interview people.
100%.
100%. So
I always feel like I can relax when
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
when
This
I'm
is
being
chill.
interviewed.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
like
funny.
you're
'cause
working a little bit over there. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, what am I going to ask him next? You know,
I
this,
know. I
that.
try not to like
No, I
seem
know how
too
it is.
distracted,
No,
like I'm on
dude.
my computer while you're giving a very profound answer.
No,
but I'm
dude,
really
I
just
think
trying
that's
to make
great.
sure the next question is kind of locked and loaded.
No, I know exactly what you mean, man. It's this is much more relaxing than hosting. And it's nice to do it once every 50 episodes or so.
Yeah, yeah, that is about the ratio.
Yeah, that's about the ratio. Once every 50 episodes, I get to be a guest.
Yeah, it's
But
a
thank
nice
you for
break because it is funny when you are interviewed and you're so used to interviewing. It's just like, dude,
Oh,
I'm
autopilot.
just chilling, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So like every instinct in my body when I sit down in here is to like lead, be like, "What's up, Parker? How you been, man? How's
Right,
your music
right,
going?"
yeah.
You know? And so it's cool to sit back and not, you know.
Yeah.
I think I've only done one other. I think Jeff hosted my podcast and asked me questions one time.
That's sick.
That was pretty much the
Flip the
extent.
script on them.
Yeah, that was really cool. But continue on.
Before we go to the last five, I actually just need to pause because I need to blow my nose.
Feel free, man.
I will say I've never felt so seen or heard as when your whim episode, and I think even on my episode, you after like 5 or 10 minutes in, you're like, brother, I got to make sure the camera's on. And I was like, dude, the amount of times I've done that because I'm like a nervous wreck. I'm like trying to listen. I'm like, fuck, did I turn the camera on? Is it going?
Yeah.
And I have to stop and like go and check.
Yeah, and it's like always on. Like it's always recording,
Always.
you know. I've never. It's smart that you turn yours around like that,
Dude,
dude.
I just started doing that because
That's
now I can
genius.
see that
Yeah, you
red
can
light.
see the red light, dude.
I'm
Oh
like,
my
okay,
God.
we're good.
You're changing the game for me because I'll be straight up 25 minutes in an episode and they give me these long-winded answers and I'm just like in my head like, is the camera on?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I love that. Love that.
Okay, let's move on to the last five.
Let's do it,
I'm
man.
just going to ask you 5 quick questions and we'll be
Please.
done.
Please, brother. I'm
Number
excited.
1, and I think I know the answer to this, is in the studio or playing live?
Playing live.
Yeah.
we
If I
talked
had
about
to
this.
guess.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier in the year with the band. It's like, so we're not that good at the studio yet. And then Connor or somebody was like, that's probably because we played like 75 shows last year and we only went into the studio twice.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I mean, we love the studio, but like, we don't want to be in there every day. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I could play. We want to play 4 times a week would be the goal. But I don't want to spend 4 days in a week. But that being said, we're going in. If I'm gonna get 20 songs, we're gonna have to put something aside. You know?
That's right.
Yeah, man. Great question.
Yeah, that's I'm the opposite, man. I can
Are
stay
you
in
the
the
opposite?
studio all
Could
day.
you?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Interesting.
now that I'm playing live more,
Yeah.
I'm like leaning towards that side just because it's so fun, and I'm trying to do it a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's been like maybe a year and a half since I've gotten in the studio.
Okay.
And I'm like itching so
Okay,
much to get back in. I'm gonna record with Tommy in May.
Me too. Me too.
Oh,
I got a
yeah.
May date. What's your May date?
May Day. My May Day is I think the 13th and 14th, or
sweet.
like the something like that.
I'm like the week before you then. I'm like the 7th, I think. So
There you
yeah,
go.
Excited about that.
Yeah, he rocks. Tommy rocks.
Yeah, man.
Okay, number 2. What is a perfect album front to back?
Ooh, lately for me, and I'm probably like pretty late to the party here, but I've liked it for a while. I'm just rediscovering it. AM by the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
I just love that one, man. That's kind of our template for this album. Like, I want it to be that sonically consistent. Like, that whole thing sounds incredible and different and pop rock without just being standard pop rock, you know? I think AM by the Arctic Monkeys, I can't think of a bad track on there except for maybe like, nah, I can't think of a bad track. I like even the ones that are not pop. Like, I Want It All is a good song, and I think Fireside is underrated, stuff like that. Love that
dude.
record.
I used to listen to that all the time when I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
And I saw them on that tour. They
Really?
played
On the
Music
AM tour?
Midtown.
Oh, sick.
And I got to
dude.
see them. It was like raining outside.
Yeah,
It was
sick.
wild. That was such a great year for Music Midtown. It was
Yeah.
the lineup I saw was The Neighborhood,
Nice.
and then Arctic Monkeys, Weezer, Queens of the Stone Age,
Ooh,
Red Hot
nice.
Chili Peppers.
Oh man, what year is this? 2013.
2013, yeah.
Nice, dude. That is a good lineup. They don't get lineups like that anymore. That's great.
No,
dude.
they
That's
don't.
Great,
Well, they don't even put on festivals anymore. Do you hear about that whole thing with
heard that.
like, because they
Something about
can't
guns,
say,
right?
yeah, they
It's a
can't
gun
say you can't bring a gun in.
They can't say
It's
that?
like, because it's public property, it's a park, but it's a private event renting it. So it's like, that's the weird contention there.
That's nuts. Because I heard they canceled Sweetwater 420 Fest too. It's like
Did
a
they?
smaller thing now. Like, it's like set a venue now. I think it's like a few thousand cap where it used to be like 20,000 or some crazy number.
I went to that. Actually, I didn't go to the 420 Fest. I went to the NCAA
NCAA, I don't know that.
thing. Do you remember that?
No.
It was the March Madness
Oh,
festival. Like they
No,
put
I
it
remember
on the weekend that the championships were happening.
that's a pretty cool thing to do. Love
Yeah,
that.
it was free
Oh, wow.
in Central Park in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
What'd you see?
I went like dude. I saw Macklemore.
Let's go.
So funny. I forgot. This was like peak Macklemore doing thrift shop.
Yeah.
it
I've listened to
was-
that song a time or two.
Yes, yeah. You couldn't avoid it.
Yeah.
So I saw him. I went to see. Oh my God, who was it? Fuck. Oh, it was Muse.
Muse. How
Yeah.
was that? I bet that was
It was
good.
really cool, but dude, the power went out, and they were
Really?
like, "I guess we'll just stop playing,"
Damn.
and they left.
Wow,
So they
that's
didn't even
crazy.
get a whole set in.
That's a good story, though.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to like say I saw that
Yeah.
moment.
Saw some of it.
Yeah, Muse rocked too.
I'm not big on their catalog, but I have a lot of people telling me I should check them out. And
I think you would like them for sure.
I think I would
They're
too.
older
They're like the
stuff.
big bass thing, right? Like the big bass riffs, or am I thinking of?
There's one song that has a crazy bass riff. I think Hysteria is
That's
the name
probably
of
what
it.
I'm thinking of. That's like a big hit for them, I think, right?
Yeah.
like their big hit.
Yeah, they're like early to mid 2000s stuff was like their peak.
I'm kind of getting into that kind of
Since
stuff.
since the Third Law, I think is what it was called. That album. Since then, there was like huge drop off.
Ooh, them and the Deftones. That's what I'm trying to think of. You ever listen to them?
Deftones. No, I've been told to listen to Deftones.
I hear a lot of
and I
Muse
haven't.
and Deftones requests. And I like Royal Blood. You ever listen to them?
Yeah, I saw
pretty
them
sick.
live
Did you see them?
around 2013
Let's go,
when their
dude. Were
first
they good?
album. Yeah, they rocked. They I've been
sick.
saying they rock a lot.
Yeah.
The drummer
fitting.
like stage dives,
Did he?
which was fun.
And they're like a two-piece, I think, right?
Only a two-piece.
very
Yep,
cool.
bassist and drummer,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
And those riffs are huge, man. I'm really into the big riffage. Very cool.
Yes, yeah. Royal Blood is perfect for that.
I'm going through a big like 2000s British rock, 90s rock kind of
Oh,
thing.
cool. Like what?
Arctic Monkeys, Catfish and the Bottlemen, like who am I missing? Strokes kind of. Well, I guess Strokes, are they American?
They are.
They're American. Okay. That
But
does
same
count.
kind of-
you know, British thing going
Yeah.
on. Like the Killers, love them. That's kind of a direction I'd like to go without copying them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of missed the Killers train.
Really?
I
think
mean,
you should try
Mr.
their first
Brightside
record.
and all that. You
Yeah.
know, that's great. But
I think they've got a really good first record. I think that everybody should kind of check out.
yeah,
It's like
Hot
a classic.
Fuzz.
Hot Fuss, yeah.
Fuss.
Jenny Was a Friend of Mine is a really good song that I feel like nobody knows.
Okay.
Really good.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Check it out when you get a chance. I think you'd enjoy it.
I will. Question number 3 is, who would be your dream artist or producer to work with?
Ooh, I'm gonna answer both. If that's cool.
Yeah.
Dream artist. I'd probably have to say Eddie Van Halen. He's been
Nice.
like my musical mentor my whole life. Although rest in peace.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. I would love to have played with him at some point. And for producer, I think right now. Oh man, that's a good question. I'd probably have to say Rick Rubin. Me and Connor talk about this
Classic,
all the
dude.
time. Rick Rubin. That
I
would
have
just
this
be.
book over there.
Oh, dude, I want to get it. It was like $36. How much was yours? Yours cheaper?
It's only 20.
What? Where'd you get it at?
Check Amazon. They just lowered it.
Okay, word
Which I
up.
was confused
Yeah.
because I
selling
was
good.
ready to pay the full
Yeah.
price, and they already knocked it down $15.
Dude, I'm gonna go order that today. 'Cause
Yeah.
I had it in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
cart, and I was just like, "Oh man, I can't splurge 36 right now."
Dude, you can take 15 seconds to read a chapter before you go because they're like a page and a half.
Really, I like
Of
that.
just
Like
like-
bite-sized.
Yeah, it's almost like a morning meditation. Like you wake up, you read one, and it's like, you know Rick Rubin. It's
Yeah.
a little university and all
Yeah,
that, you
yeah.
know, and it's just a cool way to start your day. Or
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that shit. So
Me too.
I would love to work with him. You know, he's like, me and my drummer realized recently he was talking about an interview on 60 Minutes or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know anything about music. I don't know anything
So
about
funny.
outboard gear. I don't know anything about this. Like he just creates the vibe,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what I'm looking for in a producer. And Tommy's pretty good at that. Like we pretty much wrote a song in here together, kind of, sort of, or finished a song with him because he was willing to stay extra. that vibe thing. So yeah, dream producer would either be Rick Rubin or maybe like Mutt Lange. You ever heard of Mutt Lange?
No.
He made like the big Def Leppard records. And he made like the Shania Twain record that everybody knows, and he made the Nickelback records that everybody knows.
Oh, funny.
But like a very shiny pop rock thing, and he like is known to like produce by string on some guitar stuff. So like you play the B string part, and then you record again. You play the G string part, and you like make these huge like 300 track monsters. I kind of like read a lot about him when I was a kid, and that'd be a cool guy to work with. He made a lot of the AC/DC records, big records, stuff like that.
That's crazy to be involved in so many hits and then not be super popular.
Not be widely known. But producers don't really name. Yeah, producers don't really seek fame, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Usually, I guess.
And like the most famous one is like a guru who doesn't really seek
he's
that
more
out.
like a vibe.
He's like a singular vibe.
Yes, and I'm glad you got his book, man, because I've been wanting to order that. That's great.
Yes, highly recommend it. Yeah. It was weird because the first time I started reading it, I was blowing through a few chapters, and it just felt weird to do that because each chapter, even though it's only a page and a half or so, felt like I needed to sit with it.
Take a little more time with it,
yeah.
maybe? Yeah.
So I was like, maybe let's just try to do it like a day at a time.
Yeah.
But I want to read more, but then I do, and I'm like, I feel like I didn't give the other one like enough brain.
Because he's not putting another book out, you know what I mean?
Probably
I like to really take notes when I read books, because I feel like that, like something becomes real when you write it down. I'm a big believer in that. Like I write down a lot of the band goals and stuff.
Nice.
And I think when you put something on paper, like if you can read that chapter and write down like little notes on it, I think that kind of stuff's huge. I love reading. So
yeah, that's a great book for that.
Yeah, cool.
I wrote down a couple people I think it'd be cool to see you work with.
Yeah, let's do it.
Butch Vig.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick, man.
Yeah, Butch
that's
Vig.
still possible. You know,
Absolutely.
we can still make that happen. We get the budget.
And Steve Albini as well.
Steve Albini, I'm not familiar with him. Should I be?
To me, it's funny. In my head, they're both like the same guy, even though they're clearly not.
Yeah.
But they've both worked with like Nirvana, Pixies, like all these. I think Steve Albini has maybe done more. I really don't know. But I know they both were involved in Nevermind.
Okay, cool. I didn't know. And I knew Butch was, but I didn't know Steve. That name sounds familiar.
I might be wrong. I don't know. I literally looked this up last night. But like Steve Albini has been involved with literally thousands of people that you know.
We'll take that.
I just can't remember exactly everybody. I know like Pixies, and I'm a huge Pixies fan. So that's how I remember that.
It's kind of interesting. Probably if I heard him, I would kind of know it. Because we were on the road the other day, and we heard. You remember this guy? Remember Gavin DeGraw? Does that name ring a bell?
Dude, I remember him. I saw him live.
Dude,
dog.
We were listening, like we were just on shuffle the other day, and I don't know which one of his big songs it is, but it starts out with like a. I was like, bro, that sounds exactly like the drums on Maroon 5's "Harder to Breathe." Do you know that song?
I don't know that.
You would know it if you heard it. And we looked it up, and it was the same producer. And I was like, "Let's go!" My ears dialed in.
Yeah, that's always a gratifying feeling when you nail something like that. You're like, this sounds like it was produced by Jack Antonoff.
Next thing I know, I'm in Wikipedia. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's same year." And it's just 2000 rock.
I have the Steve Albini.
Let me see it. Can I glance at it?
Yeah. Nirvana, Pixies, Breeders.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
He's been around.
Page. Okay. Looks so familiar. Pasadena, California. I'll have to do some more research on him, man.
Yeah.
Recording career. Cheap Trick. Love it. Nice,
dude,
man.
Cheap Trick is amazing.
I saw Cheap Trick in Atlanta, but it's kind of like...
Really?
They're pretty old. They're pretty past their prime.
Yeah, they've been around a long time.
It was cool. It was a good little bucket list check off.
Yeah, of course. Question number 4.
What you got for me?
What's on your musical rotation right now?
On my musical rotation right now.
I know you said some like Brit pop from the 2000s.
Definitely. A lot of that. I mean, I'd say mainly that. The Killers, Catfish and the Bottlemen's a really cool band that not many people know in America yet, but they just broke up, so they're probably not going to know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really cool band, though. I listen to them on pretty much shuffle frequently. Arctic Monkeys a lot, like the whole catalog. I didn't love the new record. I liked it. It was all right.
The Car.
The Car. It was interesting.
I wanted to like it.
I wanted to like it.
I couldn't even get through the first half.
I admire what they were doing, which is like artistic statements at this point, you know.
I love the first song.
The first song's great.
Mirrorball.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a great song.
This song is awesome. I'm so pumped for the new stuff. And
some
then
of
the
the other
rest
singles
came
are
out,
great.
and I was like,
You need to listen to Sculptures of Anything Goes. Did you try that?
I did like that one.
That one's really cool.
And then there was one. Is that the second song on the
I think
album?
that's like the third, maybe.
Okay.
The second song's cool too. I know what you're talking about.
The first three
I
thought were really good.
They're the singles, right? I believe.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, like at this point, they're not worried about making AM2 or anything, even though I kind of wish they would,
Yeah.
I know he was talking about it in some interviews, some big like Arctic Monkey guy right now. He was like, or Alex Turner was like, when we originally went in, I thought we were going to try to make kind of like AM2 and make some songs that could hold up with that. And I was like, oh my God, please do that.
And thousands of Arctic Monkeys fans were screaming in unison, why didn't you?
Yes, please. But, they're in their own thing right now. I really like Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino now. I mean, that's grown on me,
Yeah,
people hated that. I didn't like it when it came out. Now I'm listening to it and I'm like, this is really good, So maybe that'll happen with the car. Maybe it'll grow on us.
Maybe. Yeah.
We'll see.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Anything else?
Arctic Monkeys. Honestly, a lot of Arctic Monkeys. A lot of like the new Hotel Fiction stuff. I think is really great. I really love the Stews album. It's really good. I don't know. You should try to get them on here when you can.
That would be great.
They probably wouldn't do it individually though.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I'll
very
have to
tight unit.
Get a couple more microphones, and then we'll
They've
be
done
good to
some
go.
over Zoom though. I know you've done some Zoom ones. I don't love doing the Zoom, but
I know I'm trying to do more of the in-person stuff now.
It's better,
because it's more fun.
It is more fun. I've done some Zoom. I think I've only done one Zoom one. It was with like a big guest, like Mark Klein from Love Tractor was the only reason I agreed to do it. But, it's just not the same dynamic to me. I want to meet the people. You know what I mean? But back to the question. What was I saying? I was talking about the Stews. I think their record is damn near flawless. Like, really love it. The only one I don't really listen to is like maybe the title track because it's instrumental. I don't really.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't really worry about that. But like Waste of Time is a great song. On Hold is a great song. Without You is a great song. All of them, dude. If you haven't listened to Stu's record, you really should. They're kind of my favorite.
I've heard a couple of the singles.
The singles
back
are great.
in the day.
Fireline's really good. I'm just good friends with those guys and looking forward to like working with them some. We talk about music all the time. I sent him Side Mission and Preston said he really liked it, which is cool. They're my favorite like local-esque band that I take notes of. And I say local, like they're crushing right now. They're selling tickets everywhere.
From Auburn, right?
From Auburn, Alabama, yes sir. But now they're in Charleston living.
Oh.
And they're like literally the template that I'm kind of trying to follow, which is just make great songs and go play them.
Yeah.
They haven't done any TikTok shit, like no like trying to find fan base, like no like crazy video content. Like they just went out and played and like took good photos of them playing, and people love their songs, dude. So,
dude, I mean, it's an undefeated strategy.
Yeah, it works, dude. It works.
Yeah,
and
as much as TikTok helps, for sure.
Yes, I'm not hating on TikTok.
You still want to be a great live band.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where the bread meets the butter.
Where the bread meets the butter. That's right.
I had some success with the podcast on TikTok, though. I started doing the little like tiny mic interviews. I don't know if you've seen those.
Yes.
But some of those have a lot of views, man. So I'm gonna keep trying to do it. I haven't had any luck on the band TikTok. It's kind of a different thing. Like Wim has been really good at that. Wim's another guy I listen to a lot.
Yeah.
We all love Sober and Gut Punch and all those songs.
Gut Punch is so good.
Great song.
I really love
like those
that
are gonna
one.
be Athens classics. You know what I mean? Like people aren't forgetting those anytime soon. And he really, when he moved to town, man. I feel like the roster was a little weak at that point because like it was right after COVID, you know, and like Underground Springhouse was kind of on the rails. Like people were wondering if that was going to work. AFTM was broke up. So those were the two big hitters.
What's AFTM?
Oh, dude, you need to look into them, man. They have some great songs. They're kind of like Southern rock that was like probably pretty big before you moved here. They played with Tommy a bunch. They did like co-headline. They sold out Georgia Theater twice.
Does it stand for something?
I think it stands for A Few Too Many is what it stands for. But their album was called Around for the Moment. So like the interpretation changed.
Yeah.
But like what I'm trying to say is like when Wim and me moved to town or started hitting off at least, I felt like the roster of bands was a little low because of COVID and stuff. And him coming through and really starting to kill has been pretty motivating for me to like, all right, Jameson, you do TikTok.
Yeah.
You got to put focus on the originals. You got to market them right like he's done. Like maybe acoustic versions a good call. Maybe like building a lot of hype in advance for like Sober and Gut Punch. Like I need to be doing this thing. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I listened to a lot of Wim Tapping. I like Wim.
Yeah. Wim's the man. Just had him on.
Yeah, man, love that. Everybody go check that episode out. I watched that.
And your episode as well.
Yeah.
Wim's making the rounds.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Question number last question.
Last question. Oh no, I hate it's over.
I know. Favorite decade of music?
That's a great question.
And also, what's the worst
Ooh, favorite decade, worst decade. Damn, dude, this is a good one. I'd have to say 80s favorite.
Yeah.
God, I'd have to say 80s just because it's been with me so long.
Right.
But at the current moment, I'm listening to more 90s and 2000s. I think the greatest decade of oh God, that's such a great question, dude. I think 80s has the most depth on genres, if that makes sense. Because you think about the 70s, like the rock is the pop, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like Fleetwood Mac is rock, and they're like selling a lot of records or whatever.
Right.
But in the 80s, it kind of moves over to this like Michael Jackson is crushing, and like Van Halen is crushing, and so is like David Bowie, and so is Tears for Fears. I think it might be one of the deepest genre-wise, and those songs just sound amazing. I think I've spent the most time with that decade. Least favorite decade? God, what's the earliest? Because I could easily just say like the 40s because I don't listen to anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
those big bopper tunes.
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
bands.
Didn't really register for me. I'd probably say the 60s, bro. People aren't gonna like that, dude.
Most controversial statement.
I know, dude. That's a hot take. Dude. That's a hot take, dude.
Dude, saying the best is the 80s and the worst is the 60s. You're
People
gonna have people
hate that.
wanting to crucify you.
I just gotta speak my truth, man. I'd say I listen to the least of 60s just because I don't know. I'm just looking, just not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to more 2000s, 2010s than I do 60s. So that's kind of weird.
That I don't think it's as weird just because we're of the age that
lived
we
it.
are.
Yeah.
And I mean, even now, I'll probably say 2010s is my favorite decade of music, just because how am I going to separate that from like my youth as growing up in high school and like
as they
finally,
came out,
figuring out what I like and some things stick with you, some things don't quite, and it's also a hard question to truthfully answer because I could be like, hey, what about this 60s album? What about this 60s album? What about that whole band? Like you say, if you had to get rid of the 60s, that's all the Beatles. That's a lot of Rolling Stones. It's gone.
That's tough.
So, in the 80s, I'll say that one's the worst. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
But at the same time,
what
no
about
Tears for Fears. I don't like the... You're going to hate me. But like, dude, a lot of like the Def Leppard type stuff.
No, that's
like,
a very popular take. A lot of people don't like that.
I know,
people hate like 86 to 90. Like that's a very not the best period of rock right there.
Yeah, but you don't get Tears for Fears, and I love Tears for Fears. There's a lot of, I think what I don't like about some of the 80s stuff is the most popular stuff is like the very compressed pop rock.
I think you're probably looking at more of like 87 to 89 though, right?
Probably.
Like Bon
Early
Jovi,
80s,
Motley Crue starts happening in that later half, if that
That's
makes
what
sense.
I'm thinking. Yeah, because then I think of like, I love Joy Division, and they were 80, 81, stuff like that. So that, I mean, it's a silly question because the second you start to dissect it, you're like, I don't know if I really feel that way.
Oh, wait, I love that thing from the 80s,
Exactly.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. I kind of cringe at a lot of that. I think Motley Crue is wildly overrated. Stuff like that. I get why people don't like the Def Leppard stuff. I personally do. It's super shiny, super, not very real, if that makes sense. I get exactly what you're saying. But to me, I've just spent the most time with that decade, man. I love like the Tears for Fears stuff and like the solid pop that's going on, like some of the best pop records ever, the Michael Jackson stuff, the Prince stuff, all that stuff.
Dude, and Prince. I mean, Prince is amazing. Yeah. And he was in the heyday in the 80s.
I think just compared to the 70s, God, the 70s are great, though. It has more depth in genres is what I'm trying to argue, I guess.
That's
Does that make
wild.
Sense?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I mean, to me, 70s seems like the best of... It's like they took the formula from the 60s and then had better recording techniques.
Interesting.
It's how I feel about it. And they got a little weirder with stuff. And then I felt like 80s things get a little more commercialized.
Definitely. No, that's a great take right there. I think you're right. I think the jump from production to 60s to 70s is unbelievable. But I feel like dude, you're so right. I think like the subject matter of the 80s better. I feel like 60s and 70s so like dissonant, like I don't know, like psychedelic even.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Discontent kind of. And then 80s is like we're having a good time.
Yes.
Which is more my vibe. It's just a me thing.
And if you're at a party, that's what you want to hear.
Yeah, that depends, I guess. It's 70s though. Like I feel like if you weren't a rock band in the 70s, like I don't know how much pop depth there is. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. So it's great questions.
Thanks. I do like spending a lot of time on that one.
Yeah, I love that.
But dude, Jameson Tank, we just did our first ever crossover. Actually, no. What am I talking about?
Well, I mean, the first official, we've gone both ways.
That's true. This is the first time we've both crossed streams here. Yeah, dude. Everybody needs to go check out Side Mission.
Please.
New song
Should be out.
Yes, it should be out when
Should
this comes
be out
out.
by
Should
now.
be. We'll make sure. But either
not
way,
soon.
dude. Thank you for coming on, man. It's
Thank
been a
you, bro.
blast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, man. You got a great show here. I've always thought of you as an equal in the podcast game. I love having another guy. I was excited when you moved to town and started putting shit out, dude. I love your songs. I like the blues songs really good.
Hey.
That's a good song. There's
you, man.
another one that's on the album where you're wearing the sunglasses. Is It's So You? Is that the name of one?
Yeah,
Is that right?
it's the more of like the ballad type.
Yeah, but it's got like a synth in it, maybe?
Yeah,
Sounds
it's
cool.
got a synth in it. Yeah.
I've only listened to it a couple times, but I'm like, that's a cool song.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Love your music. Love your podcast. Thanks for having me. You're a great host.
I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah,
It's
man.
nice to join forces.
Yeah, dude. It's good work. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Great questions, man.
I appreciate it, dog. Jameson Tank, thank you again, man. I'll see you later.
See ya.
Thank you again for joining me for another episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. If you haven't yet, please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, and you can even leave a comment down below to let me know who you're listening to. On that note, I'll see you guys next time.
'Cause I ain't